What's up, Middle Georgia Dog Pound? Welcome to another edition of the Middle Georgia Dog Pound Live. We are so excited to be here. Got a special guest with us tonight. We are super pumped to have Mr. Orson Charles join us. But before we get going, Matt, Kevin, it's good to see you guys. Glad to be here. A few housekeeping tidbits for everybody that doesn't know if this is your first time on the show. Make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook to give StreamYard permission to show your face, your icon, and your name so we know who's commenting. We definitely want to hear from you tonight on the show. Love to get your comments and love to talk about the game, the upcoming game, and the prior game. But we're going to cover all of that as soon as we get Mr. Orson Charles on the line here to recap his Georgia career and his NFL career and ask him a few questions about this year's Georgia Bulldog team. So, additionally, we do have an email. So, if you guys need to reach out to us, if you have a product or business you want to promote, please hit us up at middlegeorgiadogpound@gmail.com. That's middle GA dog spelled like it should be, DAWG pound at gmail.com. So, guys, without any further ado, let's get Mr. Charles in here.
Do it.
Mr. Charles, what's up, fella?
Hey, how are you? How are you?
Doing great. So glad to have you on the show. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, because I know that you do have one, and making a little bit of time for three Middle Georgia guys that love the dogs. And hey, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, we've been doing this for 3 years. The dogs have been undefeated in the regular season so far. This is our third year, and we ain't stopping.
Yeah,
We ain't stopping.
Going, keep it going. Going for that.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
That's right. Well, listen, bring everybody up to speed on what's been going on with you since you've left the NFL. I know you played the 09 through 2011 with the Dogs, but tell us about your NFL career, and then bring us up to speed on what's going on with you since then.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me. It's always an honor to come on these shows and talk and reminisce the old glory, good days. So definitely thank you for allowing me to be here. So after Georgia got drafted by Cincinnati Bengals in 2012 and played 7 years, my last year was really Cleveland and Denver in 2019. And since then, I've been focusing on my construction company. So I own a construction company where we do fix and flip. We start out doing fix and flip, and now I transition into new construction. So I gotten a few projects from here. So my first project was from a foreclosure. Then I did a couple of clients' houses. I did some add-on, and then I did a couple of new construction and just fell in love with it. So my company focuses on all that, and then I have my license, so we also can do subdivision. So I'm a developer as well.
Wow.
Have land, I can go in there and cut the road in, do plumbing. I could do horizontal and vertical, and keep it going. I actually have 2 clients right now that want to do a small subdivision, so I'm definitely excited about that. So while working on that, I'm also working on my nonprofit, where I want to build back up the community and build back up our families and bring Christ back into the school system. So it'll be an academy where we're building up the kids and we're bringing Christ back into the school system and teaching them financial literacy, providing shelter, providing food and clothes, and just providing a sense of self-worth. So that's what I'm focusing on, and obviously, creating job opportunities for the youth, because after they leave the foster care home or they leave high school, they don't know where or what to do. So my nonprofit focuses on that. So that's what I've been working on.
Awesome. Well, tell us how can we follow you on what you're doing and keep up with you?
Yeah, so my Instagram right now is my personal. We're building the business, and we're building a nonprofit, so they can follow me __ Charles. And they can also contact me with my business phone 470-651-6772. And my business email is oc.enterprises7@gmail.com.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we will definitely share that, and appreciate you sharing all of that, man. I did not expect you to be in the construction business, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, just fell in love with it. My uncle owned his own construction company when I was 12. So after every football practice or when we didn't have practice, I would go work with him. And I just fell in love with just seeing raw dirt. Cause we'll get there like 6 o'clock in the morning, raw dirt, and by the time we leave at like 5, it's a whole house. So every
Yeah,
time I pass it, I'm able to say, "Hey, I built that house." When
yeah,
really
absolutely.
that was definitely something beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a rewarding piece, that is for sure.
Mhm.
Well, listen, I got a few questions for you, and I know I sent a few to you, but there's a rumor going around about a certain SEC school that you may have intentionally, accidentally knocked over a certain important trophy. I mean, I'm sure it was accidentally intentional, but tell us a little bit about what happened.
So I have to say this. I have to say this because a lot of people is going to take the story and run with it. It was an accident. It was by far an accident. I would never go to any school and disrespect all their hard work, even though I hate them. But it was an accident. So I'm going to the University of Florida, first time visiting. Urban came down a plant and recruited Aaron and I very heavily, sent his coaching staff down there. So he told us to kind of come up. So we went up there. Aaron was behind me. I believe he had some camp or he was visiting somebody else, and then he was going to meet me there in Florida. So we went up there early, met with Tebow, met with Aaron Ingram, met with all the guys, sat in on a class with Tebow. So that was a cool experience. And then we ended up going to the swamp because they had lunch wars. While Urban was still out there with practice, some of the coaching staff, sat with us and was eating. And as we're going out there, like I see Tim Tebow's trophy, and I see the Heisman Trophy and the National Championship Trophy out in the open. And obviously, this is my first time seeing it, and I'm ecstatic. I'm like, oh, I want to take pictures. I can't believe it's out there because this is, if I do decide to come here, we're going to get another one. So the Heisman Trophy's right here, and the National Championship Trophy's right here, and there's a gap. So I take a picture of the National Championship Trophy. I kind of touch it because it's out in the open. I was like, oh, this is cool. So when I turn around and take a picture of the Heisman Trophy, I kind of squat down so I could take a picture of Tim Tebow's name. And as I squat down, all you see was the ball shake, it hit the table, and then hit the floor and just shattered. And when I tell you, you can hear a pin drop in the swamp, it was crazy. Like it was one of those commercials, like everyone to get away. Like I wanted to just get away at that moment. And then somebody kind of broke the ice and said, "Oh, it's fine, it's sure." And then everybody started talking. But that was one of the scariest moments of my life.
Oh man, that is a good story. That is excellent. That is excellent. Couldn't anything better that happened to a worse team. I can honestly say. We are definitely Gator haters here on the Middle Georgia Dog Pound. That is for sure.
Me too.
Uh, I love it. I love it. So for the longest time, man, you held the record for at UGA for the most receiving yards for a tight end. What? Tell me a little what your feelings were when you see Brock Bowers come on the scene, and what I mean. I don't know, man. Just whatever you want to tell me about Brock Bowers. I'd love to hear your opinion on him coming from a tight end that played this position at a high level. Uh, what's your opinion on Brock Bowers, and how did it feel when you broke your record?
Man, I love it. Like records are never meant to just stay there forever. Like every year, guys are getting bigger. Every year, guys are getting stronger and faster. So the moment that he broke my record, I was ecstatic because he is an absolute beast. Like they utilize him very well, and he's like I heard because I went down to the spring game and I was talking to my guy T Set, the chaplain for the Georgia Bulldog, and he was like, "Man, that boy did not drop nothing whatsoever in practice and in the game." And I'm like, "Hey, his hard work should pay off." And for him to put up the numbers that he's been doing consistently in practice and in the game, oh yeah, hats off to you, young man. Keep it going. Like it's tight end you at the University of Georgia. Keep it going, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I am too. And I think the thing to me that really struck me this year was hearing Todd Hartley say Brock Bowers is the standard for the tight end room, and
Mhm.
everybody's trying to live up to that standard. And so that's a cool thing to know that, hey, your name is a synonym with the Georgia standard, right?
Mhm.
So that's excellent. That's excellent. So I know you played under Bobo, so I got to know, man, why are people so critical of Coach Bobo?
Because I can't speak for everybody. I don't know why they're critical because I love Bobo. Gave me a chance. He fed me the ball. Like we had a good relationship. Although, even though Coach Lilly was my coach, I have nothing bad to say about Bobo. So I don't know or understand why people have something bad to say about him. I definitely believe that they should relax. He's not Todd. He's more of an old school guy. I'm not sure if he's going to go back to how he used to play with the fullback. We're running power, we're running counter. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to go back to that, but that's who Bobo is. That's how he played when he was at Georgia. So I think people really need to just relax, calm down. We're going to be good. We're definitely going to be more than good, and we're going to get that three-peat. It's just going to look different than it did the last 2 years.
Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree. Great answer, by the way. That was excellent. So tell me what you think between the Bobo of your playing years and the Bobo of this era. So we got, the early 2000s, late 2000s Bobo, 2010 era. What are we going to see different out of him, in your opinion?
To be honest, we'll have to see because obviously he's not going to run that same offense that we did when I was playing because the game itself, whether it was in college or in the NFL, has changed. So nobody's really running the game, running the ball. Nobody's really using that fullback as much, although that's probably his DNA. I don't believe that he's going to continue on with that. So we'll have to see. I'd love to see how he adjusts because that's going to speak volume about him and how he's able to utilize everybody he have and switch up the offense and see what he learned from Todd the last 2 years.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. So it seems like our offense for the last couple of years is kind of flows through our tight ends, right? Um, so tell me, in your opinion, what you could have done if we'd have been running this offense in your day.
You trying to get me in trouble.
Hey, I just want to know, man. I just think you could have exploded off the map running this offense. I mean, we're splitting you out wide, running the
Mhm.
jet sweeps. I mean, dude, the it's just
So,
the opportunities are endless.
yeah, yeah. So I definitely could have, but then we have to remember that wasn't that type of offense back then. So they didn't know how to utilize the tight end. Everything was still new until somebody broke it, probably with Florida, or they started to see how Andy Reid, a Hall of Fame head coach at Kansas City, used the tight end. That's when everybody started to copy and utilize the tight end like they're doing now. But back then, they didn't know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm thinking about Brock and the combo with Darnell, man. I after the first game, I kind of feel like, geez, man, we really missed that road grader of Darnell. Who do you see filling his shoes, or do we even have anybody that can fill his shoes?
So that's going to be a hard thing to do because he was an athlete. Like he was just, I was like, bro, what? Like you're that big and can move like that and catch like that? That's unheard of. So it's going to be hard to fill his shoes. But I do believe in the tight end group that they have now, and I believe that Coach Bobo is going to utilize them differently because you don't have that same personnel, so you may not be able to use the same plays that you did last year. So you got to utilize what you have, understand what you have, and utilize them to the best of their ability. And then at the end of the day, go play ball.
Yep, I agree. I agree. So looking at this team this year, where do you see? I guess the thing that I would be thinking about would be, where's our deficits? I mean, do we have any position deficits? Do we have any opponents that's going to give us a big, a lot of trouble this season?
So no, I believe our biggest opponent is going to be us because of the season and the schedule that we have, and it's not the top notch. We have to treat every game as if we're playing Bama, as if we're playing LSU if they make it. We have to treat every game as such, because if we do that and get healthy, then we'll be unstoppable when we play those big games towards the end of the season. But as far as anybody getting in our way, I don't see it. We would be the only team that gets in our way.
I love it. I love it. Well, guys, you guys have any questions for Mr. Charles before we let him jet out of here? I know I've tried to promise him I'd keep him 20 minutes, and so we're at 17.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
I have one. I just got to know, how did it feel when Georgia got over that Alabama hump?
Man.
That's the one I want to know.
I was like, it was about time, but I was so happy for the boys, for the kids, for the university. But I was even more happier for Kirby, because you know how the Georgia fans are. You're not winning the big games. They want to kick you out. I remember probably my second year, they want to kick Rick out because we wasn't winning. And then now all of a sudden they beat Alabama. Then that kind of quiets everybody down. And then, okay, he can go do what he wants. But I was ecstatic when we beat him, and I was like, yes, we're going all the way. Like, that was the confidence that we needed to unlock the rest of the year and the following year and Georgia in general. So yeah, I was ecstatic for the boys. I was ecstatic for the university. I was proud. Like, I'm a proud Georgia Bulldog regardless, but I was definitely proud of them.
Yeah, definitely. I think we probably broke the world record for the most grown men crying at one time, right?
Hey, it's perfectly fine. It was well worth it.
Absolutely. Well, I got to ask you, man, who's your pick for the Final Four this year? Who do you see in the playoffs?
That's a hard one because I only watch Georgia, so I really don't want to watch.
That's right. Good answer.
We're going to get in there. If you want to find the other three, you got to go to my counterpart, Aaron, to find that out. But hey, all I care about is Georgia.
I got you. Well, any final thoughts, guys? Y'all got any final thoughts, any questions for Orson before we cut him loose here?
So I really don't have a question. My mindset is more, I believe you're the player who actually was the precursor to what Bowers is. I mean, I think you changed the not for Georgia, I think for college football in general. I think your ability to not only be a blocker but also go out and be a receiver changed how people look at tight ends across the board. I think you were just too early for it. But I mean, after that, before that, we were always looking at tight ends as these these the sixth offensive linemen, big guys, maybe catch a ball every once in a while, like Leonard Pope and guys like that. But when you came in, you were able to get downfield and just spread these defenses out. And it was incredible to watch you guys play. And so I think you were the father of what we see now in Brock Bowers. You created that atmosphere for them. So I thank you for that.
Oh, thank you for the words.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we love all of our prior players, man. We have like some old guys from the 70s on here, and dude, we appreciate you because you've built this program to what it is right now. You've laid the foundation for what we're reaping, and so we have to take that time to come back and say thank you, right? That you're not forgotten. And we do appreciate you and appreciate the time that you put in. And we are big fans, huge fans.
Thank you. Thank y'all for watching and support. It means a lot.
Yep.
One last thing for me. I also do appreciate like you said, your nonprofit thing you're going on with. My wife's a teacher, and I love your focus and your fundamental of putting Christ back in the school system. Me and my wife are believers, and we appreciate you guys doing that and you putting that out as how we move our future of our communities. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for that. Please tell your wife I said thank you. One of the biggest things one of the biggest people that I don't think get enough appreciation are the teachers. They're out here, creating more millionaires and billionaires out here, but then nobody's appreciating them. So definitely tell your wife I said thank you. I know those kids are hard. Tell her to keep on sticking it out.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Orson, for coming on. John Akaki says thank you too, by the way. Hey, guys, Orson Charles on the Dog Pound. Let's go. Woo! Hey,
Yeah.
thanks, buddy. I
Brother.
appreciate you. Hey, we're gonna jump into that that game highlight footage and get this thing kicked off.
First thing I think you should thank is our fans. Very few places in the country open with a game like that and get a sellout and get the atmosphere we got. Our fans were incredible tonight. They were here for you guys. That's passion and energy, and it makes it more fun when they're here, whether it's hot or not.
I love it. There's Brock Bowers making one man miss, making another at the 45, spinning at their 45. Handed to Bowers on the jet sweep to the corner, and he's in the end zone to the right side. Hit at the 2, and he flies through the air across the goal line, lands in the end zone, breaks the tackle 35. Kendall to midfield. I will pull it down and run to the 4, to the 3. Oh, he looked like Stetson Bennett sidestepping a man right into the end zone. Touchdown. Who says he doesn't have the moves?
Boy, well, he just proved a lot of people wrong right there.
You represent the brand today. Go out and take what's yours. Seize the moment.
So it's more about being grateful for the opportunity to sit in these chairs. You were a little kid, you got up, you put pads on for the first time, and you dreamed about being exactly where you are right now. You dreamed about putting on a G, being in a locker room, having an opportunity to play in front of 93,000 people, the whole world watching on TV, to see what you put your heart and soul through.
My grandpa, I told you
Robinson hops across the goal line, standing up into the end zone for the Georgia touchdown. 4 fingers in the air here at Sanford Stadium. They're going to light up this place. Go with a deep ball. He's got Ra Thomas breaking open, caught at the 30. Yeah, Ra! Yes, sir! Brock going to go for the end zone. He's got a man inside the 5. Touchdown now! There's a tip pass interception by Kyron Jones. He's going to catch it and take it to the house for pick 6. Now he's got the Savage pads on the Georgia sideline.
Wow, what a game, what a game. Started out slow. Got to tell you, we didn't execute on offense, didn't execute on defense 100% of the time, but we got that dub, and that's all that matters. So, guys, what did you learn? Matt, tell me what you learned after week 1.
Okay, so this is going to take a little while, so give me a second. No, so I mean, I told you guys pre-show, there are so many things that happened, so many firsts that we saw in this game. Some good and some bad. So go with some of the bad stuff, right? The first time I've ever seen Brock Bowers have a fumble ever, right? That was weird seeing that. But some of the good things here, though, right? Saw our freshmen get plenty of playing time. A lot of firsts there. I mean, we were playing guys in the first half who were freshmen. So we were getting those guys plenty of ample time, like when it was meaningful time. Because like Brian always says, we're gonna need those guys not only this year, but we're gonna need them in the future, and they need that time now. This is the time to do that. So there were some things that I saw that at first glance I was like, man, we're just not playing very well. When I went back and watched it again, some of that was just circumstantial stuff. I mean, there were so many times that their defense was holding our wide receivers. So it wasn't our wide receivers weren't getting open; they were being held. They had 5 defensive holding. You got to say, when defense hold receivers, that means you're getting beat. So in other games, when the teams will do that, we're going to be blowing past those guys easily. Bet could have had probably 4 touchdowns in the first half on deep balls, and those guys weren't holding them. So I mean, we had some drop balls, unexpected, but I mean, how we played ultimately, beating someone by 41 points, you cannot complain. We had 11 people catch passes. Which is incredible. I don't like how our defense didn't stop the run like I wanted them to. I mean, this team still got 130-something yards rushing on us, which is somewhat surprising. And so that's kind of a curious thing, but that could be just because we played, 3-4 man fronts the entire game. We didn't, we weren't putting a bunch of pressure in the box like they were. They had, anywhere from 8, 9, 10 guys within an 8-yard radius all times. And we still outrushed them, but still, that's probably what hindrance to us. But for us, we were only putting, anywhere from 4 to 6 guys in the box. So, I mean, there's some give and take there, and it will definitely change as we play different opponents. So that's my main criteria. I mean, I think we played pretty well after going back and watching it. Some stuff was just didn't go our way with pass interference that didn't get called, or just missing people sometimes, or drop balls. That stuff happens.
What about you, Kevin?
I agree with Matt. It just seems like they just needed to knock the rust off the first half. It was very slow. It's slow paced. It seemed like they were struggling to get in a rhythm as far as the offense goes to find that mesh, between receivers and the quarterback and the running back position. It just seemed like it was a struggle to get going. It was like they were just running in mud is basically what I can describe it like. But as the game progressed, it seemed like that rust was beginning to get knocked off. And, it's hard to complain about a 48-7 victory. And and the thing that I like to go back and make a point, and I made this point last week with UT Martin's defense, is they had a bunch of FBS transfer players. These guys have played at the higher level. So they're not just FCS players. These guys have seen it, have done it at the highest level. They've transferred to this school because this school has had several players taken in the NFL draft. They've come to highlight and showcase what their abilities are. And truthfully, hats off to them. They were trying to do that against the number one team in the nation. And I think that they achieved what they were trying to do is show what they could do. But as far as Georgia's concerned, man, I think it's just a progression of getting in a groove of what's going to happen as the season goes on. One guy that I like to highlight right off the bat is Muse. I told y'all from the beginning to watch out for this guy. We saw him in the G-Day game. Everybody kind of brushed him off, but I knew this kid right here is going to be one of those standouts this year. He's going to be that player, just like Ladd McConkey was or is. He's going to be that next Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, absolutely. John Akaki says Aaron Smith's not physical enough to get a release, yet he was open. He missed a few blocks too that we saw. We were talking about initially. Kim Evans says it did appear in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the game there was a lack of cohesion. Do you chalk that up to the opening day nerves? I do. I think a lot of it was there. That was definitely week one game jitters for sure. Let's see. That's Richard Fields.
Yep.
Not enough push from the offensive line. Let's see. Kaki says it was a lateral game and not a vertical game. Yeah, I agree with that. Kim Evans says agree. It did, but they found their rhythm, and it was as if they were back in the scrimmage field.
Yep.
Do you think, just in general conversation for you guys, do you think some of this, the pushback we're hearing throughout the Georgia, fan base, is that, we are comparing this to last year's first game we played Oregon, and so thus we're like, oh my gosh, we beat Oregon so bad. That's a great team or a good team, and we played this team and we act this way, or is it? I mean, it's just that simply. Let's just be honest. We played this team. We knew we could beat this team with our 4 stringers, and we're not showing out everything we need to. We're not going to overextend our players. Well, what we didn't realize and what we need to appreciate is that if you watch that game, was it UT Martin had like 5 or 6 players get injured.
Mm-hmm.
How many did we get injured?
None.
I think one. Well, we had
0.
one. We had one.
Who was
it was Tyke Smith came off.
That's right.
But he's going to be fine. Yeah, he's going to be fine.
But But like those guys were going down left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember watching again, like another commercial break. Oh my gosh, another guy got injured.
Yep.
And so I mean, they're not doing anything that's going to put these guys in harm's way
Yep.
and push that pressure. And so that's just my opinion. I think that if we would have played Oklahoma, we would have saw a completely different offense that we saw this time.
Sure.
I mean, you got Trey Scott came from this. Our defensive lineman coach came from this school. You know these guys. You can know these guys talking on the phone. Hey, you guys are coming to town. We're going to play. We're not going to play you guys super tough. I mean, we're not going to put all the guys in the box and blitz you. I don't think we even blitzed at all, really, did we?
Mm-mm.
We're not going to do that. We're going to we're going to play out this stuff, and you guys do the best you can. These coaches had that conversation. Let's be real.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I don't see it. I don't see all the uproar of like, oh my gosh, we didn't score 60 points. Come on, let's be real.
What I want people to do is go back and watch the Kent State game and take the play calling from the Kent State game and overlay it with UT Martin. You will see the exact same plays called for both games.
Yeah.
It's just we didn't execute in the first quarter and second quarter. So keep that in mind that, you know, every game that we play like this, UT Martin, Ball State,
UAB,
Kent State. I mean, you may see a little bit different out of UAB, but yeah, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same vanilla play calling. Our coaching staff believes that our kids can execute at a high level. We have the better players, we have the better talent, and we can win by doing the basics. And that's all we need to do is work on the basics. So here's the thing that I learned. UT Martin has an NFL caliber punter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Joker was great.
Yeah, I didn't think about him. Yeah, he
Joker
could kill it.
Was amazing. Amazing. I don't know why he's at UT Martin. He should be at a D1 school. And after that performance, he probably was getting some phone calls. So that's what I learned.
Because
and also,
tuition is expensive at
Yes,
D1
it-
schools, and they don't offer scholarships to kickers.
Yeah, that's true.
And I would
That's
also
true.
call it out to what Kevin said. Kevin highlighted one of their defensive players that was really good. That defensive end they have. That Joker played hard the entire game. He's going to be drafted, I bet you.
You talking about Dylan Dotson?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, we got to speed this thing along. Good gosh, it's 8:35 already. Let's jump into Ball State. What you say?
All right.
Do it.
You know each other's strengths, you know each other's weaknesses. And to win a national championship, hey, I know you've been through some tough times. Because to get to a national championship, that crap ain't easy. Nothing worth having, nothing good in life is ever easy. That's why people respect you when you walk around with the Marines on. Because they know that you've been through the fire and came out on the other side. Today's choices and today's action become your history, individually, collectively, and as a team tomorrow. Make history today, because it's made one day at a time.
Good deal, good deal. That's our Ball State game trailer, brought to you straight from the GeorgiaDogs.com site. Man, they do a great job bringing that game film every single week and give us something to appreciate. That is for sure. I love those videos.
Mm.
So Ball State, this is the absolute very first time that we faced this team. Just like UT Martin last week, we'd never played them before. Very first team. Their mascot is the Cardinal, of course, Charlie the Cardinal. I'm not going to go through reading all of that because that is a lot. But Charlie the Cardinal is the mascot. Head coach is Mike New. He has a long pedigree here of different teams that he's played with, he coached with and played with. Most recently, he was with the New Orleans Saints as the quarterback coach from 2014 to 2015. So, and now he is the head coach of the Ball State Cardinals. So, Mr. Matt, you have the podium, sir.
Okay, so this is how we're going to do this. The Ball State offense, as we look first at our quarterbacks, I got these two guys here originally looking at. Now they're going to play if they play us like they did Kentucky last week. They're going to play three quarterbacks. These are the two that I brought out originally in the Kentucky game from last week. We have Hatcher here. Hatcher and Kelly played the majority of the snaps. I didn't put Kelly in the slides because he really is only a running threat more than anything else. But he only had a two pass attempts. It's not the big threat there. But Hatcher and Kelly were their main guys the first part of the game. Second half comes out, they bring out this freshman here, which is Kamanza. I think how you say his name, Samanza. He comes out. He throws for about 165 yards last week with one touchdown. He's a freshman, so he is fresh, green, ready to go. So now this week, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to do the same kind of formula, play these other guys or play all three of them. I don't know. But ultimately, the freshman having the most yards. Hatcher is their senior. He came in, played a lot of time in the first half, but he's a run threat, also a little bit of a pass, but he just didn't accumulate that much in the second half as a freshman did in the first half. As we move on to our running backs, we're going to see here Cooper. Some of you guys, y'all remember Cooper played for Kent State last week. Going back to what Brian said, Cooper played for Kent State last year when he played Georgia, and he had 90 yards against Georgia last year. No, he doesn't have really good stats so far this year. Once again, they also have running quarterbacks, so takes up some of the attempts. So he's moved up from Kent State to Ball State. But we'll say, yes, he had 90 yards against Georgia last year. His 3 years at Kent State, he had 2,800 yards. That's pretty good with 29 touchdowns. This guy's he's not some slack running back. He's a solid running back. He may not be, killing it in all the, Power 5 schools, but this guy's a solid player. As we talked about earlier with the running defense that Georgia's had, we need to make sure we isolate this stuff because we don't want him to have another one of those 100-yard games like he did almost against us last year with Kent State. The wide receiver they have, Robinson is their guy. They had a few guys catch some passes. This is their main target. This guy came from Colorado. As I think Kevin mentioned a little bit ago with all the transfers they had. He's one of their transfers they had coming from Colorado. About 90 yards. It was 90 yards last week, one touchdown. So he's getting the ball good. He's got good size and good speed with them. They didn't spread the ball around as much as we do, but he's going to be their main target. That guy right there, and then their tight end they have as well. Tanner here. This guy's been at this university for 3 years. He's a good target. Last year he had 370 something yards. Last year with him, he had 66 yards last week. So he's also going to be a target. He's a good sized body tight end. He's not the Brock Bowers, no one is, but he's still going to be a key component to them. He also was one of the guys last week. He's a main target. He did have a fumble that got returned for a touchdown against with Kentucky. Kentucky did score 44 points against this team last week. I'm telling you now, 2 of those touchdowns were defensive turnovers that scored points. So if we can offensively put up the same kind of statistics against this team, I think we're gonna be trending in the right way. I don't want to think that they're some slack offense. They put up I think total 60 yards less than Kentucky did offensively. This team had 300 plus yards offensively. Kentucky had 360. I think they had 320. So there's something similar to that. I'm sorry about the numbers there, but so they had about as many yards as Kentucky did. The score does not reflect it because the defense and all the turnovers they had. But this team can move the ball. They moved the ball in Kentucky. We need to make sure our defense steps up and really puts the hammer down on these guys and don't let them get open in the free space because they they can move. Like Kevin said, they have a bunch of transfers come in who are playmakers. So we need to make sure that we show our dominance there. Pass it over to Kevin now.
Yeah, I think you hit a good point. I wanted to just comment on that. One thing we've prided ourselves on as a defense, right, is being a run-stopping defense. And we gave it a lot of running yards last week, and that's got to get corrected this week for sure. That is for dang sure. All right, Kevin, you're up, brother. You're muted, buddy.
All right, there we go. Back on there now. I just wanted to highlight a few players here. First off, I'd like to highlight this defensive end. Jack Sape, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He is actually a fifth-year senior. It's 6'4", 292. In the Kentucky game, he had 3 tackles. In the 2022 season, he had 10 tackles. He was ranked 10th in tackles and had 13 tackles with 1 sack. So this is a guy that likes to blitz off the edge and get after the quarterback. So you're going to see him getting real handsy with the offensive line, trying to get there in the backfield and disrupt the quarterback and his rhythm and timing. And he's going to be back there trying to disrupt that run game and stop that forward progress with our running backs. Secondly is Cole Pierce. He's a linebacker. He's a senior, 6'1", 222. Also in the Kentucky game, he had 2 tackles and 1 pass deflected. So this is their one of their number 1 linebackers. The other linebacker that I was going to highlight got injured in the Kentucky game, so I just took him out of my my highlight reel here. But this guy right here is very aggressive, very speedy. The 22-2 season, he was the 4th most in tackles, and he was the 1st in sacks for Ball State. He had 48 tackles last season, 5 sacks, and 1 interception. So this is a linebacker that we're going to have to watch out for and put a guy on him and block him if we're going to run against him. Our next player is also a linebacker. He is a senior. Obviously, they have some experience and depth in this area of their defense. They got a lot of seniors and juniors on this team. In the Kentucky game, he had 2 tackles and 1 sack. Also in the 2022 season, he ranked 7th in tackles on the team and 3rd in sacks. He had 31 tackles overall and 4 sacks last year. So you're going to watch out for this guy. He's also one of those speedy linebackers that likes to get across the field and disrupt plays. Fourth, we have Jordan Riley. He's a DB. He's a junior. In last week's game, he had 4 tackles, and he allowed 0 passing touchdowns. This guy was all over the field if you watched that game, making plays. Last season he ranked 2nd on the team in tackles, and he has 60 tackles and 1 sack last season. So he's accustomed to doing that little safety blitz there. So these are just a few players that we're going to have to watch out for. There was quite a few more, but it just didn't have time to highlight them all.
Yeah, appreciate that, Kevin. Thank you so much for highlighting those players. Matt, you as well. Give us some people to be looking out for and know who we're dealing with and our opponents. But hey, this is my favorite part of the show is the pick'em. This week's pick'em game. So let's knock that thing out, man. What do you say?
All right.
All right. This very first game. Matt, you picked this one, man. the Tulane Wave versus the Ole Miss Rebels. What made you
All right.
choose this one?
All right, so last week I completely picked all my teams based off my emotions. So this week I'm picking the teams where I honestly believe who will win the games. So I will go back and apologize to all my all the fans out there, all the dog pound guys for picking Georgia Tech. I'm sorry. For picking TCU, I'm sorry. And picking South Carolina because Brian told me to. So, because I always say originally in our predictions, I picked North Carolina to win that game, and I was right. But I let Brian convince me. So this time from now on, from year on out, I am picking with my mind and realism versus my heart. So with this team right here, they really played USC good last year. They're returning a lot of players. That's why they're still ranked so high in the polls. I truly think Ole Miss will outscore this team. There will be no defense in this team. This team could be like a basketball score. It could easily be in the high 40s to the 50s for each of these teams. But I'm going to pick Ole Miss to win this game against Tulane.
I like it. Kevin?
I have to 100% agree with Matt. It's going to be a offensive shootout. It's going to be no defense. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I got Ole Miss winning this one.
I like it. Let's see. Dad says Ole Miss 41-17. John Akaki says the Rebels. And then he says the Rebels. By 17. And let's see. Dad said, Matt, that's scary if you were trying to use your mind.
Love it.
I love it. I love it. All right. Yeah, I'm going with Ole Miss on this one, too. I told you last week, Matt, with South Carolina, you never knew who you were going to get. If you were going to get the Spencer Rattler that was dropping dimes or the Spencer Rattler that was throwing interceptions.
Well, it's more about the Spencer Rattler got sacked 9 times.
That's what I was going to say. Yep. And it was neither of those.
It's the offensive line who sucks.
Yep. Neither of those. Let's see. Hunter Ivy says, riding the green wave, 63-60. Wow. That's going to be a high-scoring game. Hey, props to Hunter Ivy for having the kahunas to pick Colorado, by the way.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's the only one that picked them to win. So, congrats to you, my friend. You should have put some money on that game.
I'm telling you right now, right. Tulane will score 30-plus points. I'll tell you right now they will.
Probably will. All right, not Utah. Miami versus A&M. Might as well say Utah.
It's got the same U. It'll be fine.
That's right. Who you got, Matt?
I'm gonna pick Texas A&M. I mean, I just don't believe in Miami. It's as simple as that. I don't think Texas A&M is a good team. Like I said, we back to them saying early in the season they were 6-6 or 8-14. But I think Miami is just a trash team from the ACC or whatever they'll be called in a few years when all the people from the West Coast come over there. I'm not sure when they call it then, but whatever. So I'm picking the Texas Aggies.
I like it. Well, the Vegas has them by 4, so I think you're right on the money here. Kevin, what you got?
Well, after last week's debacle that the SEC had against ACC teams, it is very, very difficult for me to pick another SEC crap team to beat an ACC team. So this week I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to pick Miami to beat A&M. It is going to be a shootout game. It's going to be close, but I got Miami.
You're no longer invited to my house ever again.
Oh my gosh! Vegas has Texas A&M by 4, so yeah, I think it's gonna be close. I'm gonna go Aggies on this one though. John Akaki says Aggies by 21.
Whoa!
Let's see. I think that's Richard. Richard says A&M by 10, and Dad says A&M wins 27-23. Wow. John Akaki says it's hurricane season. And that it is, my friend. That it is. Hunter Ivy going against the grain. Miami, 31.
There we go. See, you got to go with Hunter. He usually calls it right.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I'll give him that, man. He has been spot on all last year. He was calling games. I'm like, dude, there's no way that's going to happen. And it would happen. All right. Let's go to the next one here. Wake Forest versus Vanderbilt. What were you
Kevin,
thinking?
go first.
Okay.
Oh, it's like the crummy fest, man. That's what the crummy bowl. That's what this is.
Keep in mind, it is at Wake Forest.
It's so hard to pick this game. All right, I already picked my one ACC game. I'm not going to go against Vandy in this one. I'm going to say that they're going to pull this one out in a squeaker. It's going to be probably a low scoring game. And it's going to be close. I'm going to say like 28-27 Vandy.
I like it. Matt?
I early on picked Vandy going in to Wake Forest and beating them in their academic bowl they're going to have. So I'm stick with Vandy. I know this sounds bad. I'm going to be a SEC homer, and I'm going to pick Vandy.
I like it. John Akaki says Vandy by 7. No Sam Hartman. I think that's Richard Vandy by 6. Dad says Wake Forest 24-23. Wow, that's gonna be that's a close one. Let's see, Vandy by a field goal, 20-17. And Hunter says it's gonna be a last-second field goal. Might be right.
It's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be close for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It is. But I'm gonna take Wake Forest because it is at Wake Forest. I think Vanderbilt has a hard time winning that one as an away game. All right. Auburn versus Cal.
All right, I'll go. I'm picking Auburn. I'm picking the Auburn Tiger Eagle. What are they called? The Tiger Eagle. The War Eagle. What are they called? I'm not sure they're called. I'm picking the people who are confused. I'm picking those folks to win the game. I just don't think Cal's very good. And I forget, it's that Cal, right?
It is.
So I believe they're going to go across the country and they're going to beat Cal by 14 points.
Wow. Yeah, Vegas has them by 6.5. Kevin, what you got?
I agree. I think it's going to be another one of those close games because it's going to be at Cal. It's going to be across the country. But I think that they're going to end up pulling it out in the end. I think it's going to be no more than 7. It's going to be no more than 7 points that decides this game.
Can I make one statement before we get started, Brian, with your prediction? No SEC team has ever beat Cal at Cal.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
In the history of Cal, no SEC team has gone and beat Cal at home.
Wow. Dad
Does that change your mind?
No. Dad says he's taking Auburn 35-24. John Akaki says Auburn 31-21. I'm going Auburn as well. I think they easily take this game and win it. No problems. I was waiting on Mr. Ivy to give us his prediction here before I moved on, but it hadn't popped up yet. There it is. Cal 28-24. My hatred for Auburn runs deep. I love it.
That's right.
Love it.
That's
love
right.
it. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right. The game that we have all been waiting for. This is my game I was looking forward to all summer long. All right. Who wants to go first? Kevin?
I will go first.
Go. You going horns. Horns
going
up.
Horns up. I predicted this one from the beginning. Texas is going to Alabama, and they're going to win. It is going to be a shootout game. Ewers is going to have the game of his life. They're going to that game for retribution from last year when all the Alabama players disrespecting their fan base, disrespecting their team. They're going there to prove a point, and it's going to be wonderful when they walk out of there with that win. And I'm predicting a 35-28 win.
I like it. It's close. It's close. Matt, what you got, buddy?
I can't believe that I'm going to pick both Auburn and Alabama to win in the same week.
You don't have
but
to.
I'm going to. Now, I'm with Kevin I'm totally with Kevin. I want Texas to come in and beat the brakes off of Alabama. I just don't think you come into Alabama, and I think almost like last year with Tennessee's season, like people just didn't come in to Knoxville and win there, no matter how good or poor their defense was. I think the same thing's for Alabama. It's going to be hard to come in to that location at a night game with that atmosphere, and I think Alabama's going to be like, guess what? You want to come play SEC ball? We're going to show you SEC ball, and I think Alabama wins it. I really do. I don't think they can handle Alabama. I mean, I don't think Alabama's good. I think they're still a three-loss team, but I don't think it's this night.
So we had a late prediction come up. Justin Little says, I like Cal by 10. To heck with the War Chickens.
I like that. I like that, buddy.
John Akaki says Texas in overtime by 2.
I definitely like that.
And Daddy says, I hate to say it, but Alabama's going to win at 31-27. All right. So here's how I feel about it, okay? Had Jalen Milroe not had such a good game, I would feel more confident with saying that Texas is going to win. Had Alabama had more penalties other than 2 the entire game last week, I would feel more comfortable saying Texas was win. But I still say Texas is going to win, daggone it! Texas is going to win. It's going to be close. I'm saying maybe in overtime, 2-point conversion, like Akaki said, it's going to be close. It's going to be a battle right to the end, right to the last few seconds on the clock. But it's going to come down to that last possession. Let's see.
That's real good. That's why.
Hook 'em horns. Texas 42, Alabama 24. Now that is a big spread.
Yep.
Wow. Hunter, if you're right, brother, we are going to write off your wings. You won't have to pay. You won't have to pay for any more wings. John Akaki says you could save $600 with Geico. Okay. All right. Moment of truth here. Moment of truth. The game of the week. All right, what you got? Dogs versus the Cardinals. What you got?
So I still say we play a somewhat vanilla offense kind of thing. We're going to play very safe. Not going to show all the moves and shifts and crossing patterns in the offense and stuff. Defense will still they may come up and play some more guys in the box. Maybe show some blitzing every once in a while, but not much. I still say Georgia takes it down at 48-10.
I like it. Kevin?
Yeah, I was kind of the same way. It's still going to be vanilla. You're going to see a lot of just the same thing that we saw last week. It's not going to be anything different. I'm just going to give us 3 more points than what we had last week and go 51-7.
I like it. John Akaki says Dogs 51-7.
Look at there.
Dad says 41-6. I like that too. I'm gonna go 45-3. 45-3.
That could happen too.
See what Mr. Ivy has to say here. Waiting on his comment because I know it's coming.
Where's Kevin at? Kevin needs to get some more stuff. It's funny as crap.
Texas players are hungry after last season's loss to Alabama, and they know they can win. Had Ewers not been hurt, Alabama would have been a blowout. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Texas would have won last year.
They should have.
Justin, here we go. Justin.
Justin. I'm sorry. I said Kevin.
Yep.
I meant Justin.
Justin, Dogs on top, 56-0. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
That's bold right there. Now I like that. Good deal. Well, I can tell you one thing. One thing that I want to see is more of old Brian Kelly referencing the Dogs in his post-game speech.
For some reason, we thought we were somebody else. We thought we were the two-time national champion Georgia Bulldogs or something. I don't know what we thought, but we were mistaken.
Better than that, man. I've had that on repeat all week long.
What an idiot! Can I dude, priceless to look at his player next to him and go, what the did you just say?
Did you see him look over at him?
Like, did you just throw the entire team under the bus?
Yep.
They are going to quit on him. That joker will not make it to 4 years. Like that. I don't care if you put Georgia in there. You replace Georgia with any team. I don't care what you say. You could say Wisconsin or whatever, two-time national. Why did you say any team like that? What a moron.
Because he's trying to keep it in the family.
Well, he's about to find his. Never mind. I'll keep it PG for the viewers we have out there.
John Akaki says
an
harsh truth. Harsh truth. It was harsh truth.
It is harsh truth, but terrible.
Hunter Ivy says similar to last week game. Dogs on top again. 52-3. Like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, any final thoughts before we sign off?
I'm looking for another win, man. Just literally moving forward. People can complain all they want to about the score, how we looked. Ultimately, all it matters is a W.
Yeah.
If we win by 1 point every game, we're going to win that championship. We care too much about the show points, the how we look socially and how ESPN views us. It doesn't give a rat's
Petunia.
But
Mm-hmm.
winning by 1 point every game gets you a natty.
Yep.
That's all we got to worry about.
Yep.
So forget about the style points and win games. I think that's how Kirby's mind is.
Justin Little says Brian Kelly is a closet dog fan.
Facts.
Johnny Kaki says lemon pepper and blue cheese dressing too. I like it. I like it. All right. Final thoughts, Kevin? Anything?
I'm just glad to be back on here for another week, man. It
No
is
doubt.
fun. I am glad that football season is back in full swing, and I'm looking forward to this week's game. It's going to be some good ones.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, guys, let's send this thing out. So, guys, we're going to catch the game as it gets at 12 o'clock on the SEC Network on Saturday. Make sure you tune in and be pulling for your dogs and your favorite team, favorite players on the team. But we will be back next week to recap this game and talk about the big win and give you the preview for the South Carolina game because we got to take it to them Cocks when they come to town. So I'm Brian, Kevin, Matt. We're here for you at Middle Georgia Dog Pound. Folks.
Go Dogs!
Go Dogs!